Good evening, Mountainside. Hope you're having a great start to your week. I know that I have, and it's just a blessing. But thank you also to all of you that attended this past Sunday. A few more than last week. It was just a blessing once again to see all of you that we haven't seen in so very, very long. And it was a tremendous blessing. Thank you to all of those that are helping between services to tidy up, to wipe things down, and just the different things that are going on between the services. You know, Vera and I have been blessed greatly. I almost hate to tell some of you this because maybe you didn't receive any, but boy, we were blessed with two pretty significant rain showers in the last 2 days. There was a good one, well over an inch of rain in Edgewood on Sunday afternoon, and about the same yesterday. I wasn't home to see the one yesterday, but I could sure see the after effects, and it is amazing what God's moisture does compared to you and I going out there and watering with our sprinkler systems or our hoses. Oh, we serve a mighty God. I just pray that the rest of the state can receive the same kind of moisture at some point in time. And it's been dry for several months now, which we all know if you've lived in New Mexico for any length of time, you know it's pretty typical here in the Southwest. Also, remember to keep the Drabach family in your prayers. Dennis definitely had some form. I don't know all the details, but he did have a heart episode yesterday, but he is doing much, much better today. And when I recorded this message, they continue to test and work on basically deciding a course of action with his particular situation. But when I'm recording this, at this point in time, there's been no surgery, and we'll let you know if something changes. You know, it's been a pretty eventful time since last Thursday when I spoke to you last. Some of the things that have gone on in our world are exciting. Great achievements have taken place. I think about the manned space launch this past Saturday. Oh, what a neat time for that industry, but for our country. And first time private industry has partnered so closely with NASA to just get people back into space. And I wish all that has taken place in the last week or so was that kind of news. But you'd have to live in a cave to not be aware of the other things that are going on around our country that basically just remind us of the fallen world that we live in and how dark humanity can become, including the despicable actions of a few law enforcement personnel. It's safe to say the world needs Jesus. This past Saturday, Vera and I watched little Theo and Cooper. This is Tom and Amanda's boys. We watched them for a little while as they wanted to go to this particular nursery that's out there in Edgewood and see what kind of plants they had available. Well, needless to say, Vera and I, we were most definitely in our element. You know, we are grandparents and we're loving on kids and we spoil them as much as we can and then we send them home. But, it was a blast. Now, when they arrived, Theo, he gets out of the pickup, and I have two garage doors. I have a double door and a single. But Theo heads right to the big door, which I did have open, and he's all boy, I know that because he went straight for the four-wheeler. And I told him, I said, well, get on, sit on it. So he climbs up, and it didn't take no time. I mean, he's pressed every button. He's moved every switch. He acted like he was the driver, and when he had enough, he moved on. And then we spent the rest of our time, for the most part, in the backyard in the sandbox. I mean, after all, you just have to dig for treasure. I mean, what boy doesn't like to dig? Now, when Tom and Amanda came back to pick up the boys, the neatest thing happened. Oh, I just wish I would have had it on video. I told Theo that, if you'll come back and see me, I was going to take him for a ride on, and I called it the motorcycle. And I wish I could show you the expression on Theo's face. It was as if every wish he had ever had came true at the same time. And he's got this expression, and at the same time, He's falling over into our hammock as if it was so exciting he was about to pass out. It was absolutely priceless. And then as soon as he got up, he came and just gave me a big old hug. And I don't mind telling you, it took everything of the world and just wiped it out. It was a top 10 moment of my life. Now, you're probably wondering, where are you going with all this, Rick? You've talked about quite a few different things, and it's quite simple, actually. The world today it's as chaotic as any time in our history. In fact, so much so, if you have not really surrendered your heart to Jesus, if you do not have the kind of peace in your life that truly transcends all understanding, the things going on in this world will simply overwhelm you, and they'll rob you of the absolute hope that we have in Jesus Christ. I am 99.99999, and I could go on, sure that no one in this listening audience is going to come up with a cure for the COVID-19. But I know as believers, we know who can. I'm equally convinced that none of us can solve the issues of racism, but because of who is in us, I know that I can eliminate racism in at least one person, and that's me. And so can you. I also know that God has equipped me. In fact, He's equipped all of us to make a difference in this world as we live out our lives. And you and I, we may not be able to change the world, but we most certainly can be an instrument for change in everyone we come into contact with. Yeah, maybe it's done by keeping a Theo and a Cooper. Maybe it's done by asking the clerk of the register, and truly meaning it, how's your day going? And then thanking them for what they do. Maybe it's done by checking on that neighbor, making that phone call, or maybe it's taking a dessert to so-and-so, or simply a timely, card to let someone know how much you love and appreciate them. My point is simply this. We need to do for others around us all the time. That's what our life should be absorbed with, and not be so self-absorbed. You see, when we become more concerned about the giving of ourselves than we are about receiving whatever, then God is given more opportunity to do that which we cannot do. That is to change lives, change hearts, and using us as His instruments. And you know what God does in return? He blesses you. He blesses me with what we need the most at any given time. Now, don't hear me say what we want. That's not what I'm saying. He gives us what we need. And to live this way truly is the only way we can keep from being overwhelmed by the chaos around us. And when the believing community, when we wake up, when we live this way, God can replace the chaos with Jesus Christ. That's God's plan. And we are a part of that plan. It's His story. What part of that story you are in, and what part of the story I am in, that's our choice. I want to close with the reading of just a portion of the Sermon on the Mount. Now when Jesus saw the crowds, He went up on a mountainside and sat down. His disciples came to Him, and He began to teach them. He said, "Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are those who mourn, for they will be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they will inherit the earth. Blessed are those who hunger and thirst for righteousness, for they will be filled. Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they will see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they will be called children of God. Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are you when people insult you, persecute you, and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Rejoice and be glad, because great is your reward in heaven, for in the same way they persecuted the prophets who were before you. You are the salt of the earth. But if the salt loses its saltiness, how can it be made salty again? It's no longer good for anything except to be thrown out and trampled underfoot. You are the light of the world. A town built on a hill cannot be hidden. Neither do people light a lamp and put it under a bowl. Instead, they put it on a stand, and it gives light to everyone in the house. In the same way, let your light shine before others, that they may see your good deeds and glorify your Father in heaven. In the midst of all this chaos, this sadness, I think it's more important than ever that you and I remember who we are, that we remember whose we are, and that we remember how He's equipped us, that we remember that that's only good if we go out there and allow Him to use us. May we be salt in this world. May we flavor the conversation. May we be light in a world that has plenty of darkness. And it won't be because of who we are. It'll be because of whose we are. It'll be because of what He's done for us. So let's go out. Let's be light. Let's be salt. And don't let the world overwhelm you, because God's got other plans for you. God has other plans for me. Oh, thank you for tuning in this evening, and have a blessed week. Good evening.